8 strange facts, each with a real-world reason behind it. From a child's 35-cent note to a room you can sleep in, every story turns on one small detail that changes everything. When KRCB first began broadcasting, a child mailed 35 cents and a handwritten card to the station. KRCB was a PBS member station in California, serving the San Francisco Bay Area. It had just started broadcasting. The card said, "Now I can get Sesame Street." That one line linked the new signal to a show at home. The money was tiny, but the message was huge. A new public station had reached one child's living room. That envelope became a small reply to a new station, with 35 cents, a card, and a show waiting on the screen. John Golding left out horizontal lines on purpose. In a painting, that one missing direction can make the whole surface feel strangely unstable. Harold John Golding was a British artist, scholar, and curator. He studied art and archaeology, so he paid close attention to how images are read. Golding avoided horizontals so his abstract work would not be mistaken for a landscape. Without a horizon, the eye has less reason to turn a painting into sky and ground. That choice changes the first glance. Instead of reading a scene, the viewer meets color, shape, and tension on the canvas. His childhood in Mexico, then study in Toronto and London, shaped that careful eye. The result is an abstract painting that keeps the horizon out of reach. This temple repeats the same number in its shape and its grounds. 9 sides, 9 gardens, 9 pathways. Baha'i houses of worship are built with that pattern on purpose. The number 9 is symbolically important in the Baha'i faith. So the design turns belief into architecture. The 9 sides, 9 gardens, and 9 pathways all follow the same idea. Before anyone enters, the symbolism is already visible in the grounds. The paths guide the eye toward one central structure. That calm ring of paths and gardens frames the house of worship like a quiet diagram. One central structure sits inside the ninefold layout. A Walt Disney World ride played music by 9 Inch Nails. That pairing sounds almost impossible at first. 9 Inch Nails are known for an industrial rock sound, far from classic theme park music, so the choice stands out immediately. But ride music does more than fill space. It has to shape mood, motion, and atmosphere as guests move through the attraction. That is where the crossover happened. A band with a distinct sound helped build the ride's experience inside Disney World. The result is a soundtrack that links industrial rock with themed entertainment. It starts at the entrance and follows guests into the dark ride. Carl Laubin paints cities that never existed, but the buildings look real. One skyline can feel familiar before you know why. He starts with buildings from one architect, not from random sources. That gives each city a hidden family resemblance. Then he rearranges those real buildings into a new skyline. The painting combines architecture and composition into one impossible view. The result is invented and documented at the same time. You can read the buildings, yet the city itself never stood anywhere. That is why the final image feels so convincing. It ends as a dense skyline, built from familiar stones, windows, and one painter's hand. A piano tried to sound like a bagpipe, and that feels impossible at first. Béla Bartók chased that sound. The sound Bartók heard came from the simpoi, a pastoral bagpipe in folk settings. It carried a rough, steady tone. That tone was not only in one instrument. Folk violins and shepherd's flutes often copied it, keeping the same color alive. Bartók carried that folk color into piano writing. On the keyboard, he looked for a similar bite and drone. So the piano was not copying a bagpipe by accident. It was echoing a rural sound already heard in violins, flutes, and the simpoi. Jacqueline Wilson said she would die after her 100th novel. Then she wrote book 101. By then, she had already published her 100th novel. The number itself became the point everyone noticed. After that public remark, the next book arrived fast. The joke turned into a challenge on the page. That meant a quick writing sprint instead of a long pause. The 101st book became a fast follow-up to the 100th. So the result was simple: one public promise, then a fresh manuscript on the desk. The page came first, not the pause. A motel room from a painting became a real place to sleep. Guests could step inside it, not just look at it on a wall. The room came from an Edward Hopper painting, where a simple motel interior sits in still light. On canvas, it was only a flat image. Then the painted room was reconstructed in 3D. That meant the walls, furniture, and layout were translated into a physical interior. Once built, guests could sleep there. The odd part was simple: a picture became a room you could enter and use. It turned art into a stay, with design and hospitality meeting in one quiet interior. The final scene is a still motel bed beside a lamp and curtain. If one detail can reshape a painting, a temple, or a TV memory, imagine what the next fact could do. Subscribe for more short factual stories, and tell us which one surprised you most.